time a ship leaves port, it faces a simple truth. The sea doesn't forgive mistakes. Whether it's human error, mechanical failure, or nature at its worst, a single misjudgment can turn millions of dollars of steel into wreckage in seconds. Today, I'm breaking down the top 15 biggest ship collisions and mistakes ever caught on camera. All real, all documented, and each one showing just how fast control can vanish out on the water. Number 15. MV Smart, the ship that broke in half. Off the coast of Richards Bay, South Africa, the massive coal carrier MV Smart met its end in 2013. It was caught in a violent storm while fully loaded with coal. The waves were relentless, so powerful that the 274-meter vessel ran aground on a sandbar. Within minutes, the constant pounding split the ship clean in two. Rescue helicopters rushed in to evacuate all 23 crew members, and somehow everyone survived without injuries. But the disaster didn't stop there. The wreck remained in place for months, leaking oil and coal into the sea, posing a serious environmental threat. It became one of the most infamous maritime failures caught on video. A reminder that even modern bulk carriers can crumble when nature pushes back hard enough. Number 14. Carnival Glory versus Carnival Legend. Cruise ship collision. This next incident shows what happens when two floating cities meet by mistake. In Cozumel, Mexico, the Carnival Glory was attempting to dock beside the Carnival Legend when strong currents and wind pushed it off course. Instead of lining up with the pier, the Glory slammed directly into the bow of the Legend, scraping metal and shattering railings while passengers screamed from the balconies. Luckily, no one was injured, but the collision caused major hull damage to both ships and delayed multiple cruises. Carnival later blamed the weather, but maritime experts pointed out something else: inadequate tug assistance and overconfidence during maneuvering. It's a perfect example of how even billion-dollar cruise liners can be taken down by simple miscalculations. Number 13. Cargo ship crash. The Francis Scott Key Bridge, Baltimore. In Baltimore, a cargo ship lost control and slammed into a support pillar of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. The entire event was over in seconds, but the footage shows just how destructive a ship of that size can be when momentum takes over. Emergency teams rushed to the scene, fearing the worst. Fortunately, the bridge structure held, and no casualties were reported. The cause was eventually traced to mechanical failure, combined with strong current drift, a deadly mix that turned a routine transit into a near catastrophe. This event became a case study in how critical real-time communication is between ship pilots and port authorities. Because when coordination fails, steel meets concrete, and the outcome is never good. Number 12. Trawler Goldberg, lost in the Norwegian Sea. Back in 2013, the trawler Goldberg, formerly a Russian vessel named Anatoly Guganov, sank in the Norwegian Sea. The crew had reported problems with flooding before the situation got out of hand. Video from nearby vessels captures the final moments: the ship heavily listing to one side, alarms blaring, and then the haunting sound of its horn echoing across the water. Moments later, the trawler was gone beneath the waves. All crew members were rescued, but the vessel itself was lost forever. The sinking highlighted ongoing issues with aging fishing fleets operating in extreme northern conditions, where cold water, corrosion, and rough seas constantly test the limits of any hull. Number 11. Dock collision caused by wind. In another close-quarters accident, a massive cruise ship found itself battling strong gusts of wind while trying to dock. Despite the crew's efforts and tugboats pushing from the sides, the vessel couldn't maintain position and slammed into the pier. The impact caused visible hull damage and sent shockwaves through the dock structure. The crew immediately secured the ship to prevent further movement, and no passengers were hurt. Investigators later confirmed that a sudden crosswind gust exceeding 40 knots was to blame. It's one of those rare moments where even advanced thruster systems couldn't fight the force of nature, proving that sometimes all the technology in the world can't keep a ship steady. Number 10. Brazil's tall ship Cisne Branco hits a bridge. In Guayaquil, Ecuador, Brazil's Navy training ship Cisne Branco nearly ended its voyage in disaster. While passing under a drawbridge with tug assistance, the vessel got caught in a strong river current. The mast snagged the bridge structure, and for a few terrifying seconds, it looked like the entire ship would be crushed. Even worse, one of the assisting tugboats became tangled and was nearly dragged underwater. Quick action by the crews prevented fatalities, and everyone escaped unharmed. This near miss became a viral clip in maritime circles, showing how fast current shifts and communication delays can turn a ceremonial transit into a full-blown emergency. Number 9. Adam Marine 12, capsizing in the Gulf of Suez. In Egypt's Suez Gulf, the drilling vessel Adam Marine 12 capsized suddenly while stationed offshore. Witnesses described the entire incident happening in seconds. The vessel rolled violently and flipped before anyone could react. Investigators later found that ballast mismanagement and uneven weight distribution caused the ship to lose stability. All crew members were rescued, but the vessel itself was beyond recovery. What's haunting about this one is how fast it unfolded. Even trained crews couldn't react before it was over. A reminder that at sea, balance is everything. Number 8. Madeira River Bridge. Impact, Brazil. On Brazil's Madeira River, a large cargo vessel collided with a bridge's protective barrier. These barriers exist specifically to absorb impact and protect bridge foundations from being struck by heavy ships. The collision was strong enough to leave visible dents and shake the structure, but engineers later confirmed the bridge was still fully functional. Thanks to the protective design, the impact didn't escalate into something far worse. It's a rare case where engineering foresight prevented a potential disaster. Proof that smart infrastructure can save lives and millions of dollars in damage. Number 7. Multi-ship collision. Chain reaction in port. Sometimes one mistake leads to several. In a chaotic incident caught on camera, a cargo vessel entering port misjudged its distance and collided with two moored ships. The force of impact snapped mooring lines and sent crews scrambling for safety. Fortunately, no one was injured, but the damage was extensive. Marine investigators later concluded the cause was a failure to reduce speed during final approach, one of the most common human errors in harbor navigation. The footage became a training clip worldwide, illustrating exactly how dangerous crowded ports can be when even one captain miscalculates. Number 6. The ferry Alay Bay, a new life underwater. Not every ship accident is a tragedy. Some are transformations. The ferry Alay Bay served the Iskenderun Bay in Turkey for nearly 4 decades before being retired in 2012. Instead of scrapping it, authorities decided to intentionally sink the vessel to create an artificial reef and diving attraction. Footage shows the ferry slowly descending beneath the waves, surrounded by divers and onlookers. Within months, marine life began colonizing the wreck. It's one of the rare ship sinkings that was entirely deliberate, turning a worn-out passenger ferry into a new habitat for ocean ecosystems. Number 5. Yacht collision on the Scheldt River. Visibility can turn deadly on the water. In this case, a small yacht was trying to dock on the Scheldt River, but the setting sun blinded the captain, hiding another approaching vessel from view. By the time he realized what was happening, it was too late. The two boats collided bow to bow, damaging both hulls. No one was hurt, but the footage shows just how limited visibility can cause massive problems even in calm conditions. It's a textbook reminder that sunlight glare can be as dangerous as fog. and why captains are trained to factor it in before every approach. Number 4. Coal barge versus container ship collision. In a busy shipping lane, a coal barge and a large container ship crossed paths. Despite radio warnings, both vessels continued on converging courses until it was too late to avoid contact. The barge took the brunt of the hit, suffering hull fractures and partial flooding. Thankfully, there were no injuries, but maritime authorities later cited poor situational awareness and lack of response to collision alerts. This case demonstrates why automated collision avoidance systems are now mandatory on most modern cargo ships, because a few seconds of delay can cost millions. Number 3. Cargo ship grounds itself to prevent capsizing. Sometimes the only way to save a ship is to run it aground intentionally. During one voyage, a cargo ship carrying bricks began leaning sharply to one side. The cause turned out to be cargo shift. The heavy bricks had moved inside the hold, destabilizing the vessel. With capsizing imminent, the captain made a bold decision: ground the ship deliberately near the shoreline to keep it upright. The maneuver worked. The crew was safe, and the vessel was later refloated for repairs. It's one of those rare maritime saves where quick thinking and sacrifice of the hull prevented total loss of life. Number 2. BBC Ruby. Collision in St. John's Port. On May 12, 2023, the heavy cargo ship BBC Ruby collided with a barge in St. John's Harbor. The crash was captured from multiple angles, showing the Ruby's bow scraping against the smaller vessel before impact. Authorities have stayed quiet about the exact cause, but maritime observers believe human error and poor situational control were factors. The collision reignited debate over harbor traffic management and whether stricter speed controls are needed in confined ports. The silence from officials only fueled speculation, but the footage spoke for itself. Another reminder that size doesn't excuse carelessness. Number 1. MSC Opera. The cruise ship disaster in Venice. Topping the list is the MSC Opera incident in Venice, Italy, one of the most infamous maritime collisions ever caught on camera. The footage shows the massive cruise liner drifting uncontrollably toward the dock and the smaller River Countess tour boat. Despite horns blaring and crew shouting warnings, the Opera didn't slow down. It crashed straight into the pier and the moored vessel, sending passengers running. 4 people were injured, and the crash caused international outrage. Officials couldn't confirm whether it was a technical malfunction or pilot error, but the event reignited global debate about large cruise ships entering Venice's fragile waterways. The images of that slow-motion impact became a symbol of what happens when tourism, technology, and tight canals collide. Looking at all 15 of these incidents, one thing becomes clear. Ships may be massive, but control over them is fragile. Whether it's a split-second decision, a storm, or an unseen current, the sea constantly reminds us that precision is everything. Each of these collisions, from the MV Smart's dramatic break to the MSC Opera's slow crash in Venice, tells the same story: human ambition versus the forces of nature. And as long as we sail, that battle will never end.